Hey everybody, welcome to the final week of the semester. I cannot believe that it's over. So I just really quickly wanted to run through some highlights on leadership and administration. I thought about filming this over at the Fisher College of Business, which is kind of behind me, but instead, because we think leadership business, right? There's a ton of leadership in agriculture. And in fact, agriculture, of course, is the number one industry in the state of Ohio. So I am at the OSU Extension Franklin County office and the Waterman Farm just across campus. The new dairy, the greenhouses, just a fantastic place. Come over and visit it sometime if you get a chance and think about some of the leadership constructs that we've talked about this semester. So really quickly, 5 minutes, I just want to fly through these. First class, I started out sharing with you some of the feedback and critique that I've received in the past because I wasn't such a great writer. It took me a while. I've shared some of that with you. I hope to help you do better so that you don't get that gut punch that I've gotten more than a few times in my career. The whole point was that critique or criticism can help. So don't give up when you get this feedback now in the future. Take that breath, consider their perspective, noting that they might be right. Now, they also might be full of, I don't use language like that, but one thing to note, do not listen to personal put downs or attacks. Critique is fine and it's good, but as a person, no one should be put down or belittled or criticized because you are of infinite worth. You may need some work on your writing or on your statistics, but that's not who you are. So just keep that in mind because I've seen critique offered in a really bad, unconstructive way. So just, if you get hit with that, no, it's not you. Learn, grow, persist. The objectives this semester, we wanted to talk about functions of leadership, theory and framework so that you could develop skills, real life application of theory into practice. That was the main idea of this entire semester. Developing leaders. We talked about John Maxwell. The whole point, I think, of leadership is to serve others. The topics that we went through, leadership, the point, leadership is serving others. We looked at our Myers-Briggs profiles, anything like this. We said these aren't definitive. They just give us data to help us learn more about ourselves. Leadership is recognizing that people are different and then encourage that diversity because the richness and the outcomes will be so much improved when you do that. It will help your organization thinking about people and learning about them. Again, thinking about others. Management versus leaders. Management gets things done, right? Well, sort of. Leadership is serving others, which actually encourages a greater contribution and impact. Talk about transformational leadership theory, servant leadership, personal mission. How do we want to be remembered? The classic Stephen Covey question or Rick Warren. When you get up in the morning, what drives you? We talked about adult motivation theory. I'll get to that in a minute. Simon Sinek, perhaps the most important point of the semester. Leaders start with why. And generally, if you listen to Sinek closely, it's because they are aimed at serving others. That makes the organization thrive. The love language quiz or the languages of appreciation, emotional intelligence, that self-regulation piece, most important of anything, so that you can then regulate that, be motivated, empathize, and work with others, those that you're leading. The key on EQ, don't forget this one. You can learn it, study it, read about it, practice, observe. Authentic leadership, we talked about this. Above the line, do you remember, did I ask you, what do you do when somebody's tailgating you? They're just up on your bumper, do you wave with one finger? Yeah, I don't do that. Sometimes I want to. But when you take that breath, E plus R equals O, the event happens and the outcome is the O. So what's your R? Is it a response or reaction? We take the time, take the breath, and we respond. really powerful. The key thing is to remember that each of our responses creates an event for somebody else. What does the situation require of me? How can I serve others? Ethics, we jumped into that quickly. We talked about Kouzes and Posner. What do people want? What characteristics do they admire in leadership? Kern's derailers. How do we get off track, which can happen sometimes when we're making hard decisions and we may not have somebody to talk to about it? Sources of unethical behavior. The point, leadership is putting others first, thinking of others first. That will help drive the decisions that you make. Decision making. That was a nice segue, unintended. The five decision factors of moving through administrative decision pitfalls that we sometimes can fall into. The point, leaders ask what's best for the organization, for our people. Staffing, staff selection, oh my goodness, hiring, attracting people. How do we bias our interviews unconsciously? What can we do to try to prevent some of those things? Supervision, motivation, organizational culture. We dove into that a little bit because that kind of encompasses all the things that we do as leaders. Theories of motivation, adult motivation theory, adult learning theory, like the need for adults to have a why, so that you're not just giving them information. There are reasons and there are methods that we can really enhance our ability to lead and motivate our teams. Onboarding, bringing people on board. The main thing as a leader, how can you create an environment where folks are encouraged to flourish? I love that question. We talked about mentoring and coaching. Mentoring, generally thought of as asking questions, guiding, providing some ideas and some feedback, versus coaching, where generally you're saying, okay, I see you doing this. Here's a suggestion that might help you get over that hurdle or be more effective. So interchangeable use a lot of times, but good stuff all across the board. The grow model, where you can just, without training, you can just ask somebody, well, what do you want to achieve? Okay, what's the reality today that you may have to think about? And then, okay, so you've got an obstacle or an option. Let's explore those. And then how do you move forward? Really powerful, really easy to use. I love that stuff. Performance management, planning, coaching, feedback, performance reviews, leading change, hurdles to change, paradigm shifting. Again, we're thinking about how we think about things. The key, again, know thyself. If we raise our EQ, self-awareness, the number one thing, then we can have the effect that we're wanting to have on our organizations. Leading teams, I just said that one. Oh, yeah, forming, storming, norming, the team phases. Budgets are so critical because your organization has to be fiscally sound. And you may or may not be making decisions on those, but you may also have an influence at some point. In extension, and the work that I do, I look at what is the public good versus private good, and so then we charge accordingly if we're trying to do something for public good. Different ways of thinking about budgets. The main point on leadership: watching the budget so that you're keeping your organization solvent, serving others. Again. Okay, that was fast. I tried to mix things up with discussions, reflections, papers, presentations. All of that was designed very purposely to hopefully give you some real life experience where you could apply these theoretical constructs to real life and they would be useful to you. I appreciate if you give me some feedback. I'm always looking for that. And I appreciate that very much. It will help me make the class better for the future, for other students. I sincerely thank you, and I hope that this has been a fruitful journey this semester in thinking through leadership theories and constructs. Starting with why. Again, I think that's probably one of the most powerful things. You're getting a graduate degree, so you can go do something. And if you remember to start with that, why am I getting out of bed in the morning? you can have more impact. It's powerful stuff. I've got one last thing I just want to share, and I hope you sincerely believe me when I say I believe in each one of you. I've watched you, listened to you, read your papers, and you all have some remarkable talents to give to the world. And it's been a pleasure to learn from and with you. I hope I have helped you in some way. So go forth and do. Thank you again so much. From the Waterman Farm, come over here and visit. It's a really cool place.